Orphan girl, only 7 years old, offers to cut the grass in exchange for leftovers. What the billionaire does will break your heart. Before we dive in, this video is crossing time zones right now. What season are you experiencing where you are? If you enjoy this conversation, please like and subscribe to stay connected with us. The morning sky wept over Pinewood Hills, Connecticut, as little Lily Adams stood shivering at the iron gates of Oak Ridge Manor. Her thin frame was barely visible beneath an oversized raincoat, and her small hand firmly gripped the even smaller fingers of 3-year-old Timmy Collins. The boy's pale face and thinning blonde hair told a story no child should have to tell. "It's so big, Lily," Timmy whispered, his voice barely audible over the rainfall as they stared at the sprawling mansion. "Are you sure it's okay?" Lily nodded, with a determination that belied her 7 years. "Mrs. Bennett said the man who lives here is super rich. Rich people have lots of food they throw away. We just need to ask nicely." Thunder rolled across the sky as they approached the intercom. Lily had to stand on tiptoes to reach the button, and when the metallic voice answered, she nearly jumped back in fright. "Who's there?" The voice was young but impatient. Hello, sir," Lily's voice trembled. "My name is Lily, and this is Timmy. We were wondering if you needed your grass cut. We can do it for food, just leftovers you don't want." Silence. Then the gates began to open with a low mechanical hum. Lily squeezed Timmy's hand tighter as they walked up the long driveway. Timmy stumbled twice, and Lily waited patiently each time, helping him regain his balance. The front door opened before they reached it, revealing a man in his early 30s with dark hair and searching eyes. This was Alexander Reed, though everyone called him Alex. His expression shifted from annoyance to confusion as he took in the sight of the 2 drenched children. "Where are your parents?" he asked, looking past them as if expecting adults to materialize from the rain. "We don't have any," Lily answered simply. "We live at Pinewood Children's Home, but we can work real hard, sir. Mrs. Bennett taught me how to use the lawnmower, and Timmy can pick up sticks." Alex's gaze fell on Timmy, noting the medical alert bracelet on his tiny wrist and the unnatural pallor of his skin. Something changed in the millionaire's face. A shadow of recognition, perhaps, or a memory stirred. "It's raining," he said flatly. "Nobody's cutting grass today." Lily's shoulders slumped, but she nodded bravely. "Yes, sir. Sorry to bother you. Maybe when it's sunny." "Why do you need food? Doesn't the children's home feed you?" Lily shifted uncomfortably. "Yes, sir, but—" She glanced at Timmy. "There's not always enough, and Timmy needs special food 'cause of his medicine." "The doctors said so." Timmy coughed then, a hollow sound that seemed to echo in the vast entryway. He swayed slightly, and Lily steadied him with practiced ease. Something flickered across Alex's face. Pain, recognition, decision. "Come inside," he said abruptly, stepping back. "You're both soaked." Lily hesitated. Years in foster care, having taught her caution around strangers, even wealthy ones. "We're not supposed to go into strangers' houses," she recited. Alex knelt down, meeting her eyes. "Call the children's home. Tell them where you are. I'll drive you back myself when the rain stops." As they stepped into the warmth of the mansion, neither child noticed how Alex's hands trembled slightly as he closed the door, nor how his eyes lingered on Timmy's medical bracelet with haunted recognition. "Mary!" he called out, and an older woman appeared from what must have been the kitchen. "We have guests. These children need dry clothes and hot chocolate, and call Dr. Hayes." The woman's eyes widened, but she nodded without question. "Why do we need a doctor?" Lily asked, suddenly afraid. "Is Timmy okay?" Alex looked at her, then at the frail boy beside her. "Just to make sure, my sister," he began, then stopped, "just to be safe." Lily clutched Timmy's hand tighter as Mary led them away. Behind them, Alex Reed pulled out his phone and made a call that would change all their lives forever. "James," he said tensely. "Remember that foundation idea we discussed? I need it operational. Not next quarter. Today." The hot chocolate warmed Lily's hands as she sat wrapped in a fluffy towel that felt softer than anything she'd ever touched. Beside her, Timmy looked almost lost in an oversized sweater, his small legs dangling from the massive sofa. The grand living room of Oak Ridge Manor seemed to swallow them whole. "Is this your whole house?" Timmy asked Alex, his eyes wide with wonder. Alex, who had been watching them with an unreadable expression, smiled faintly. "Just a small part of it. It's bigger than our whole playroom, and 20 kids use that," Lily observed. Mary returned with a tray of sandwiches cut into triangles, the crusts removed. Lily watched Timmy's face light up, such a simple thing to bring joy. "Thank you, ma'am," Lily said politely, remembering her manners as Mrs. Bennet had taught her. She carefully took one sandwich and handed it to Timmy before taking one for herself. "You can have more than one," Alex said quietly, noticing her restraint. Lily shook her head. "We need to save some for our friends at the home." Something in Alex's expression cracked. "How many friends do you have there?" 18 other kids, Lily answered. "Some are babies. Timmy and me are friends with everybody, but Emma and Christopher are our best friends. Emma has diabetes and Christopher has trouble walking." The doorbell rang and Mary went to answer it. Moments later, she returned with a kind-faced woman carrying a medical bag. "Dr. Hayes," Alex greeted her. "Thank you for coming so quickly." "Of course," the doctor replied, her eyes immediately assessing the children. "Who do we have here?" Before Alex could answer, Lily spoke up. "I'm Lily Adams. I'm 7. This is Timmy Collins. He's 3 and has leukemia. We live at Pinewood Children's Home, and Mrs. Bennet knows we're here because we called her." Dr. Hayes raised her eyebrows at Lily's directness, then smiled warmly. "May I check you both over, just to make sure you're okay after being in the rain?" Lily nodded cautiously. Timmy first. He had chemo last week. The word hung heavy in the air. Alex turned away briefly, his hand reaching for a silver frame on the mantelpiece before stopping short. While Dr. Hayes gently examined Timmy, Alex moved to sit closer to Lily. "How long has Timmy been sick?" 8 months, 2 weeks and 3 days, Lily answered without hesitation. "I keep track for him because he's too little. His mom left after the doctors said it was cancer. She was crying a lot, and then one day she didn't come back to the hospital." Alex's jaw tightened. "And your parents?" Lily looked down at her hot chocolate. "They died in a car crash when I was 5. I lived with my grandma after, but she got real sick last year. Now she's in heaven too." She said it matter-of-factly, but her small fingers gripped the mug tighter. "You take care of Timmy," Alex observed. It wasn't a question. "Somebody has to," Lily replied simply. "The grown-ups try, but there's lots of kids. Timmy gets scared at night after his treatments. I tell him stories about superheroes who fight the bad cells in his body." Dr. Hayes finished her examination of Timmy and turned to Alex. "He's running a low-grade fever. Nothing alarming, but he shouldn't have been out in this weather." She looked pointedly at Alex. "He needs consistent medical care." "Pinewood has a nurse who comes 3 times a week," Lily volunteered, "but sometimes Timmy needs medicine they don't have." Alex stood abruptly. "I'll be right back." When he stepped into the hallway, Dr. Hayes followed, closing the door partially behind them. Lily strained to hear their hushed conversation. "Condition is stable, but needs monitoring. Looked into that place. It's underfunded and reminds you of her, doesn't he? Can't just." The door reopened, and Alex returned with a resolve that hadn't been there before. He knelt in front of both children. "I'm going to drive you back to Pinewood," he said, "but first I want to ask you something important. Would it be okay if I came to visit you there tomorrow?" Lily's eyes widened with surprise. "You want to visit us?" "Yes," Alex said firmly. "I'd like to meet your friends and bring some things you might need." "Like what?" Timmy asked, his voice small but curious. Alex looked at the boy, really looked at him, and something shifted in his gaze. Like hope. Pinewood Children's Home stood in stark contrast to Oak Ridge Manor. The faded brick building with its peeling paint and patched roof looked even shabbier through the rain-streaked windows of Alex's luxury car. He gripped the steering wheel tighter as he parked, noting the worn playground equipment and the carefully mended curtains visible in the windows. "That's Emma!" Lily exclaimed, pointing to a girl with braids pressed against an upstairs window. "And Mrs. Bennet is waiting for us." Sure enough, a tired-looking woman in her 50s stood under the modest portico, her face a mixture of relief and wariness as the sleek car came to a stop. "We brought sandwiches," Timmy announced proudly as Alex helped him from the car. The boy clutched a container Mary had filled with carefully wrapped food. Mrs. Bennet's eyes widened at the sight of Alex Reed. Even in Pinewood, people recognized the tech millionaire whose company had revitalized the Connecticut economy. "Mr. Reed," she said, clearly flustered, "I can't thank you enough for bringing the children back safely. I've been beside myself with worry. They've never done anything like this before." No need for thanks," Alex replied, helping Lily with her jacket. "They're remarkable children." Mrs. Bennet's surprise was evident, but she quickly ushered them inside. "Come in out of the rain, please." The interior of Pinewood was clean but desperately outdated. Mismatched furniture filled the common room, where several children played quietly. Every surface showed signs of careful repair. Patched cushions, reinforced table legs, walls touched up with paint that didn't quite match. A chorus of excited voices greeted Lily and Timmy as they entered. "You went to a mansion. Is that food? Who's the man?" Emma, the girl from the window, hurried over to hug Lily fiercely. "Mrs. Bennet said you might be lost forever," she whispered. "I promised I'd come back," Lily whispered back. Alex watched the exchange, noting the medical alert bracelet on Emma's wrist that matched the one Timmy wore, though for different reasons. Mrs. Bennet guided Alex to a small office while the children shared their adventure and the precious sandwiches. Through the door left ajar, Alex could see Lily carefully dividing the food, ensuring everyone got a share. "I apologize for the state of things," Mrs. Bennet said, gesturing to the lone chair across from her desk. "Our funding was cut again last quarter." Alex remained standing. "How many children do you care for here?" 21 currently, ages 8 months to 17 years, 6 with significant medical needs." She sighed. "We do our best, but our resources are limited." "I've seen that," Alex said, his voice tight. "Your nurse only comes 3 times a week. For children with leukemia and diabetes," Mrs. Bennet flinched. "We can't afford more. The state funding barely covers basic needs. Our medical budget relies on donations and children offering to mow lawns for food scraps," Alex finished, her face flushed with shame. "I never meant for them to do that. Lily is resourceful. She worries about Timmy constantly." "Tell me about them," Alex said, his tone softening slightly. Mrs. Bennet's expression grew sad. "Lily lost her parents 2 years ago. Drunk driver. Her grandmother cared for her until last year when she passed from heart failure. No other family came forward." She paused. "She's incredibly bright, reads above grade level, excellent with numbers, but she struggles to connect with potential adoptive families. Too mature for her age, they say." "And Timmy, diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia 9 months ago. His mother was a single parent, struggled with addiction. She left him at the hospital 6 months ago and never returned." Mrs. Bennet's voice cracked slightly. "The prognosis is actually good with proper treatment, but coordinating care through the state system is challenging." Alex moved to the window, watching the children in the common room. Lily was helping Timmy drink from a cup, steadying his hands with her own. "What do you need most?" he asked suddenly. Mrs. Bennet blinked in surprise. "Excuse me. If you could fix one thing here immediately, what would it be?" She didn't hesitate. Medical care. A full-time nurse at minimum, consistent transportation to appointments, better nutrition for the children with health conditions. Alex turned to face her, his decision made. Mrs. Bennet, I'd like to help Pinewood. Not just today, but going forward. Her eyes widened. That's very generous, but I have a proposal, Alex continued. My company's foundation has been looking for a significant community project. I believe we've found it. A commotion from the common room interrupted them. They rushed out to find Timmy on the floor, Lily kneeling beside him, her small face tight with fear. He just fell down, one of the children said. He was walking and then he wasn't. Alex was at Timmy's side in an instant, pulling out his phone. I'm calling Dr. Hayes. As he looked up, he met Lily's eyes, not panicked, but resigned, as though this was a scene she had witnessed too many times before. He'll be okay, she told Alex, with a certainty that broke his heart. He just gets tired after chemo. The medicine makes his blood not work right. In that moment, as rain lashed against the windows of the underfunded children's home, Alex Reed made a vow that would transform not just Pinewood, but his own life as well. Yes, he said into the phone, medical emergency at Pinewood Children's Home, and then I need you to make some calls. The foundation project starts now. Morning sunlight streamed through windows that had been grimy just days before. Lily sat on the edge of her bed, new bed, with a purple comforter she'd picked herself, watching Emma brush her hair with a real bristle brush, instead of the plastic one they'd shared for months. Do you think he's really coming back today? Emma asked, carefully sectioning her hair for braids. Lily nodded confidently. Alex promised, and he already sent the cleaning people and the new beds and the food. It had been 3 days since the rainstorm that led them to Oak Ridge Manor, 3 days of whirlwind changes at Pinewood. A cleaning crew had arrived the very next morning. Delivery trucks followed with new bedding, clothes, and kitchen supplies. Most importantly to Lily, a nurse named Ms. Winters now stayed in the newly furnished staff room, checking on Timmy and Emma multiple times daily. "Lily, Emma, breakfast!" Mrs. Bennet called from downstairs. The dining room was unrecognizable. The wobbly tables had been replaced with sturdy new ones. Fresh fruit, real fruit, not just apples and bananas, filled colorful bowls. Timmy sat at his usual spot, looking stronger after days of proper medication and nutrition. "Pancakes again," Christopher whispered excitedly as they sat down. His leg braces gleamed, another of Alex's gifts. Mrs. Bennet seemed years younger, the perpetual worry lines on her forehead softened. "Eat up, everyone. We have a busy day ahead. Mr. Reed is bringing some special visitors." Lily felt a strange flutter in her stomach at the mention of Alex. Part of her still couldn't believe that a grown-up, a rich, important grown-up, had listened to her and Timmy, had seen them as people worth helping. "Is he bringing more presents?" asked 4-year-old Zoe. Mrs. Bennet smiled. "What he's bringing is more important than presents, opportunities." The morning passed in a blur of excitement. Even their regular lessons seemed special in the brightened surroundings. Lily kept glancing at the clock, counting minutes until Alex's promised arrival at noon. When the doorbell finally rang, she nearly knocked over her chair, rushing to the entryway. Mrs. Bennet reached the door first, straightening her dress before opening it. Alex stood on the porch, but he wasn't alone. Behind him were several people in business attire, and beside him, Lily's breath caught, was a woman in a white coat. "Dr. Hayes!" she exclaimed. The doctor smiled warmly. "Hello, Lily. How's our friend Timmy doing today?" Before Lily could answer, Timmy himself appeared, walking more steadily than he had in weeks. "I ate 2 pancakes for breakfast," he announced proudly. Alex laughed, a sound that transformed his serious face. "That's excellent progress." He turned to Mrs. Bennet. "May we come in? There's much to discuss." They gathered in the newly furnished common room. The older children sat attentively, while the younger ones played quietly in the corner under the watchful eye of Miss Winters. "Children," Mrs. Bennet began, "Mr. Reed and his team have some exciting news to share with us." Alex stepped forward, seeming almost nervous. "At Pinewood, I've seen incredible strength and kindness, especially from two very brave children who knocked on a stranger's door during a storm." His eyes found Lily and Timmy. "That courage inspired me." He gestured to the people behind him. "These are members of the Reed Foundation. Together we're going to make some changes here at Pinewood." A woman with glasses stepped forward. "We're establishing a permanent medical suite on site, with rotating specialists and transportation services for hospital visits. A learning center with tutors and technology," added a man with a friendly smile, "and scholarship funds for future education." Each announcement was met with wide eyes and gasps from the children. Lily watched Mrs. Bennet dab tears from her eyes. Dr. Hayes knelt beside Timmy. "And for you, young man, we're coordinating with your oncology team to streamline your treatment plan." Throughout the presentation, Lily sat quietly, taking it all in. When everyone broke into excited conversation, Alex made his way to her side. "You're not saying much," he observed gently. "Are these changes okay with you?" Lily looked up at him, her expression serious beyond her years. "Why are you doing all this? Just because of us?" Alex seemed taken aback by her directness. He sat down beside her, considering his answer carefully. "Partly because of you," he admitted, "but also because—" He paused, then reached for his wallet and removed a worn photograph. "Because of her." The photo showed a young girl with a bright smile despite her bald head. She wore a hospital gown, decorated with hand-drawn stars. "My sister Sophia," Alex said softly. "She had the same kind of cancer as Timmy. She was 10 when she died 20 years ago." Lily touched the photo gently. "She looks nice." "She was the nicest person I've ever known," Alex said, his voice thick. "And the bravest." "Like Timmy," Lily whispered. "Yes," Alex agreed, "like Timmy and like you." Lily shook her head. "I'm not brave. I just do what needs doing." "That's what bravery is," Alex told her, "doing what needs doing, even when it's hard or scary." Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion at the door. A man in an expensive suit burst in, his face flushed with anger. "Reed, what the hell do you think you're doing?" he demanded. "The board meeting started an hour ago." Alex stood, placing himself between the man and Lily. "James, I told you I'd be at Pinewood today. For a photo op, maybe, not to skip the quarterly review to play Santa Claus." The man, James, lowered his voice but couldn't hide his fury. "The investors are waiting. Mitchell is threatening to pull out if you don't show." Alex's expression hardened. "Then he pulls out. This is more important." James stared in disbelief. "More important than the company you built? Than the deals we've worked on for years? For what, some random orphans?" The room fell silent. Every child, every adult stared at the two men. Lily felt something cold settle in her stomach. She'd seen this before, the moment when adults decided that children like her were too much trouble. But then Alex did something unexpected. He smiled. "Not random, James. Family." The word family hung in the air of Pinewood's common room. James stared at Alex as if he'd lost his mind, while the children and staff watched with bated breath. "We'll discuss this privately," James finally said, his voice tight. Alex nodded. "Mrs. Bennet, is your office available?" As the two men disappeared into the small office, Lily felt a familiar anxiety creeping over her. Adults always made decisions behind closed doors, decisions that changed children's lives without their input. She'd learned that lesson repeatedly in her 7 years. Dr. Hayes seemed to sense her distress. "Lily, would you help me check Timmy's temperature? I could use a nurse's assistant. Grateful for the distraction, Lily followed the doctor to where Timmy played with building blocks, but her mind remained on the closed office door, behind which her fragile new world might be unraveling. Inside the office, Alex faced his business partner's fury. "Have you completely lost your mind?" James demanded. "You're jeopardizing everything we've built over some charitable impulse." Alex remained calm. "It's not an impulse, it's a commitment." "A commitment? To children you met 3 days ago?" James ran a hand through his hair in frustration. "Alex, I understand wanting to donate, to help, but you're talking about personal involvement. Daily visits, a restructuring of the Foundation's entire focus." "Yes," Alex said simply. James leaned against the desk. "This is about Sophia, isn't it?" Alex tensed at his sister's name. "It's about doing something meaningful with the resources we have." "We already do meaningful work," James countered. "Our technology has transformed industries, created jobs. We've donated millions to cancer research." "Research that might help someday," Alex agreed. "But these children need help now." James studied his friend and partner of 15 years. "There's something you're not telling me." Alex was silent for a long moment. "I've been having the dreams again. Sophia asking why I stopped fighting." Understanding dawned on James's face. The dreams had plagued Alex in the early days of their startup, nightmares that drove him to work until exhaustion. "We built the company to fund the research," Alex continued, "to find better treatments. But somewhere along the way, the company became the goal itself." He looked out the window at the children playing. "Timmy has the same type of leukemia Sophia had, 20 years later, and he's fighting the same battle with many of the same outdated tools." James sighed, his anger deflating. "What exactly are you proposing?" I'm not abandoning the company, but I am reprioritizing." Alex met his partner's eyes. "The Foundation takes precedence now, starting with Pinewood, then expanding to other facilities. Practical support for children fighting now, not just research for someday. The board won't like it. The board works for us, not the other way around." James shook his head but couldn't entirely hide a reluctant smile. "You always were stubborn." He checked his watch. "I can stall Mitchell and the others. Tell them you're working on something revolutionary, which I suppose you are, in a way." Relief washed over Alex. "Thank you, James." "Don't thank me yet. You'll need to make an appearance eventually. Tomorrow, latest." Alex nodded. "Tomorrow afternoon, I promise." When they emerged from the office, they found an unusual scene. The children had formed a protective semicircle around Timmy, who sat pale and trembling on the sofa. Dr. Hayes knelt before him, speaking in gentle tones. Lily stood at Timmy's side, her small hand on his shoulder, her face set in fierce determination. "What's happening?" Alex asked, hurrying over. Dr. Hayes looked up, her expression professionally calm, but her eyes concerned. "Timmy's running a fever. It's not uncommon during treatment, but I'd like to take him to the hospital for monitoring." No hospital," Timmy whimpered. "They poked me there." Lily squeezed his shoulder. "The pokes help you get better, remember? Like the superheroes fighting the bad cells." "But you won't be there," Timmy said, tears welling in his eyes. "They don't let kids visit kids." The truth of his words struck Alex like a physical blow. These children, who had formed their own family of necessity, would be separated during their most vulnerable moments. "Actually," Alex said, making a swift decision, "there might be a way around that." Everyone turned to him, surprised. "The Reed Foundation has a relationship with Memorial Children's Hospital," he explained. "Part of our funding includes a family support program." Dr. Hayes caught on immediately. "You're suggesting we classify Lily as Timmy's emotional support companion? It's unusual, but with Foundation backing." "Exactly," Alex confirmed, "and not just for today. for any hospital stay for any child from Pinewood. James stared at his partner. You're rewriting hospital policy now. I'm applying existing policy creatively, Alex corrected, with appropriate financial support to make it feasible. Mrs. Bennet looked stunned. That would be revolutionary. The children could actually support each other through treatments. Can I really stay with Timmy? Lily asked, hope and disbelief warring in her voice. If that's what you both want, Alex assured her. I want, Timmy said firmly, some colour returning to his pale cheeks. As Dr. Hayes made arrangements for the hospital visit, Alex noticed James watching the scene with a thoughtful expression. Revolutionary, James murmured, echoing Mrs. Bennet. I think I'm beginning to understand. Later, as they prepared to leave for the hospital, Lily approached Alex with solemn purpose. Thank you, she said formally, extending her hand as she'd seen adults do. Alex shook the tiny hand, equally formal. You're welcome. I still don't understand why you're helping us, Lily admitted. But I'm glad you are. Sometimes help comes from unexpected places, Alex told her. When my sister was sick, a janitor at the hospital used to sneak me in after visiting hours so she wouldn't be alone at night. No one ever knew. He didn't get recognition or rewards. He just saw a need and filled it. Lily considered this. Like when I helped Timmy with his medicine. Exactly like that. As they walked to the car where Timmy waited with Dr. Hayes, Lily looked up at Alex. What was the janitor's name? Alex smiled sadly. I never knew. I was too young to ask, and then it was too late. I bet it was something nice, Lily decided, like yours. In that moment, something shifted in Alex Reed's heart. Something that had been broken for 20 years began, ever so slightly, to heal. Memorial Children's Hospital was a world away from what Lily remembered of hospitals. Bright murals decorated the walls, interactive displays beckoned from corners, and staff wore colourful scrubs with cartoon characters. Still, she felt Timmy's grip tighten as they approached the reception desk. It's okay, she whispered. I'm staying the whole time. Dr. Hayes led their unusual procession, herself, Mrs. Bennet, Alex, Lily and Timmy in a wheelchair pushed by Nurse Winters from Pinewood. James had returned to handle the business crisis, but not before making several calls on Alex's behalf. Dr. Hayes and guests for Dr. Monica Chen, the receptionist announced into her phone after checking their names. Yes, the Reed Foundation Group. The name worked magic. Within minutes they were escorted to a private consultation room where a woman in a white coat with a butterfly stethoscope waited. Alex Reed, she said warmly, extending her hand. Your foundation's support has been invaluable to our pediatric oncology department. Dr. Chen, Alex responded. Thank you for accommodating us on short notice. Dr. Chen knelt to Timmy's level. And you must be Timothy Collins. I've reviewed your files. You've been very brave through your treatments. Timmy shrank back, pressing closer to Lily. He likes to be called Timmy, Lily informed the doctor, and he is brave, but he doesn't like to talk about it. Dr. Chen smiled at Lily's directness. And you are? Lily Adams. I'm 7. I help Timmy remember his medicines and tell him stories when the chemo makes him feel sick. A look passed between Dr. Chen and Dr. Hayes. Surprise, assessment, approval. Well, Lily, would you like to help me examine Timmy? Sometimes doctors need assistance. The examination proceeded with Lily acting as intermediary, helping Timmy understand what Dr. Chen needed and why. The adults watched in amazement at the natural rhythm between the children. The fever is concerning but not alarming, Dr. Chen explained afterward. I'd like to adjust his medication and keep him overnight for observation. Timmy's face fell. But Lily will stay as his support companion, Alex interjected smoothly. We've made arrangements. Dr. Chen's eyebrows rose. That's unusual, but... She glanced at the children's clasped hands. I can see the therapeutic benefit. We'll need to process some paperwork." As Dr. Chen left to arrange the admission, Mrs. Bennett touched Alex's arm. "This is extraordinary. In all my years at Pinewood, I've never seen the system bend to accommodate our children's emotional needs." "Sometimes the system needs reminding of its purpose," Alex replied. They settled Timmy into a private room, brightened by interactive projections of ocean scenes on the walls. A cot was brought in for Lily, along with a backpack containing toiletries, pajamas, and a stuffed animal, all seemingly prepared in advance. "You planned this?" Lily asked Alex, clutching the stuffed bear. "I hoped it wouldn't be necessary," Alex admitted. "But yes, I planned for possibilities." As evening approached, Mrs. Bennett and Nurse Winters reluctantly prepared to return to Pinewood. "The other children need us," Mrs. Bennett explained to Lily, "but we'll be back first thing tomorrow." "I understand," Lily said, with the resignation of a child accustomed to adult limitations. "Timmy and I will be okay." Alex hesitated at the door. "I could stay," he offered, surprising himself. Dr. Hayes, who had been consulting with the hospital staff, overheard. "Actually, that might be helpful. I need to discuss Timmy's long-term treatment plan with you, and it would be easier in person." That settled, Mrs. Bennett left with promises to return and regular updates on the other children at Pinewood. When Timmy fell asleep, exhausted from the day's events and medication, Lily finally allowed her own guard to drop. "Are you okay?" Alex asked, noticing her slumped shoulders. "Tired," she admitted, "but I can't sleep yet. Sometimes Timmy wakes up scared." "I could watch him while you rest," Alex suggested. Lily looked skeptical. "Do you know what to do if his breathing gets funny, or if he needs his special cup for water?" "You could teach me," Alex said gently. Something about his tone, the genuine request for her expertise, made Lily nod slowly. She proceeded to give detailed instructions on Timmy's care, speaking with the authority of someone much older. "You're very good at this," Alex observed when she finished. Lily shrugged. "Somebody has to be. That's a lot of responsibility for someone your age." "I don't mind," Lily said, but her eyelids were growing heavy. "Timmy would do it for me." As she finally drifted to sleep on the cot, Alex found himself thinking about the burden these children carried. Not just illness, but the weight of caring for each other in a world where adult attention was rationed and divided. Dr. Hayes joined him in the quiet room. "She's remarkable," she said softly, watching Lily sleep. "They both are," Alex agreed. "All of them at Pinewood are. Your interest in them, it's more than philanthropy, isn't it?" Alex was silent for a long moment. "When Sophia was sick, I was 12. Old enough to understand what was happening, too young to do anything about it. I promised her I'd find a way to help kids like her." "Your company's funding for research isn't enough," Alex interrupted. "Research is vital, but these children need help now. Direct intervention, practical support." Dr. Hayes studied him. "What exactly are you planning, Alex?" "A complete overhaul of Pinewood. Medical staff, educational resources, living conditions, but more than that." He hesitated. "A model for how childcare facilities should operate. One we can replicate." "That's ambitious." "It's necessary," Alex stated firmly. "These children deserve better than to be warehoused while we wait for someone to want them." Dr. Hayes nodded slowly. "I agree, but there will be resistance, bureaucracy, regulations, budgets." "I'm good at overcoming obstacles," Alex said with quiet determination. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft whimper from Timmy. Before Alex could move, Lily was awake and at Timmy's side, murmuring reassurances. "It's okay," she whispered. "The medicine is helping the superheroes fight. Remember how Captain Shield finally beat the bad cells in our story." Timmy settled under her gentle words, drifting back to sleep. Lily, noticing the adults watching, gave a small, embarrassed shrug. The stories help, she explained simply. In that moment, watching a 7-year-old comfort a desperately ill child with nothing but words and presence, Alex Reed's vision crystallized. "Dr. Hayes," he said softly, "I want to establish a foundation specifically for children like Lily and Timmy. Not just medical support, but comprehensive care. And I want to start tomorrow." Outside the hospital room, life continued as usual. Business deals were made and broken, stock prices fluctuated, the mechanisms of wealth and power churned forward. But inside room 314 of Memorial Children's Hospital, a quiet revolution was beginning, one that would eventually transform the lives of thousands of forgotten children across America. And it had started with 2 small children offering to mow a lawn in exchange for food scraps. 3 months transformed Pinewood Children's Home beyond recognition. Fresh paint brightened walls that had been dingy for years. New windows kept out autumn's chill. The crowning achievement was the medical wing, where Nurse Winters and visiting specialists tended to the children's needs daily. Lily sat cross-legged on her new bed, writing in a journal Alex had given her. "September 15th, she recorded. "Timmy had his last chemo today. Dr. Chen says his blood counts look really good." Emma appeared in the doorway, her braids adorned with purple ribbons, matching her new dress. "Mrs. Bennett says important visitors are here," she announced. "Alex is with them." In the common room, Alex stood with 3 well-dressed strangers. His face brightened when he spotted Lily. "Lily, these people are from the State Department of Child Services. They've been hearing about our improvements at Pinewood." One woman knelt awkwardly, her pencil skirt stretching. "We're very impressed with what Mr. Reed has accomplished. Would you say you're happier now?" "The new stuff is nice," Lily answered carefully. "But the best part is that Timmy gets his medicine on time, and nobody has to choose who gets seconds at dinner anymore." The officials exchanged glances. They'd arrived unannounced, hoping to catch problems. Instead, they found immaculate facilities, well-nourished children, and medical care exceeding state standards. "Mr. Reed," the lead official said, "what you've accomplished is remarkable. We'd like to discuss using Pinewood as a model for other facilities." Alex nodded. "That's precisely my hope. Mrs. Bennett can show you the operational details while I check on Timmy." Upstairs, Timmy slept peacefully, his color significantly improved from that rainy day months ago. "The doctors are very pleased with his progress," Alex told Lily. "Dr. Chen thinks he might enter remission soon." "What happens then?" "He continues maintenance therapy, but less intensively. He'll feel better, have more energy." Lily nodded, absorbing this with her usual seriousness. "Will you still visit when he's better?" The question caught Alex off guard. "Of course. Why wouldn't I? Sometimes people only care when you're sick," Lily explained matter-of-factly. "Like Timmy's mom." Alex knelt to meet her eyes. "Lily, I promise I'm not going anywhere. Even when your company needs you? Your friend James was pretty mad that day." Alex smiled. "James isn't mad anymore. In fact, we're expanding the foundation work, creating more places like the new Pinewood." "For other kids like us?" "Exactly. And I was wondering if you might help me. The officials downstairs want to hear from children about what makes Pinewood special now." Lily's eyes widened. "Me? But I'm just a kid." "That's precisely why your opinion matters most. You understand what children need in ways adults sometimes forget." Did it downstairs, Lily articulated the children's needs with clarity no adult consultant could match. She explained how consistent schedules reduced anxiety, how access to books opened worlds beyond Pinewood's walls, how seeing medical needs addressed promptly taught children they were valued. When she finished, the room was silent. "Well," said the lead official finally, "I believe we've found our program advisor." Later, Alex sat with Lily on the porch swing. "You were amazing today," he told her. Lily shrugged. "I just said what's true." "That's harder than it sounds. Most adults struggle with it." As they swung gently, Alex seemed to be working up to something important. Lily waited patiently. "Lily," he began finally, "how would you feel about—" A shout from inside interrupted him. "Mr. Reed, come quick, it's Timmy." Alex and Lily raced upstairs to find Timmy sitting up in bed, his face flushed with excitement. "Look!" he exclaimed, pointing to the window where a large red cardinal perched. "It's just like in our story." Relief washed over Alex. For months, every unexpected call had triggered the same fear, that Timmy's condition had worsened. Today's false alarm was a welcome reminder that childhood contained ordinary wonders, too. "He's beautiful," Alex agreed, moving closer. "Do you know what kind of bird that is?" "A cardinal," Timmy answered proudly. "Lily showed me in the bird book. They stay all winter 'cause they're brave." Lily beamed with teacher's pride. Since the new books arrived, she'd appointed herself Timmy's reading instructor, despite being a beginning reader herself. "Sorry for shouting," Timmy added, remembering his manners, "but the bird book said cardinals are special. They mean good luck is coming." Alex smiled. "Well, we could all use some good luck." He glanced at Lily. "Actually, I was about to discuss something important when we heard you." "Grown-up stuff?" Timmy asked, interest immediately waning. "No," Alex replied. "Family stuff, and since you're part of that conversation, I should wait until you're properly awake." Timmy bounced slightly. "I'm awake now, super awake." Alex laughed, sitting on the edge of the bed and gesturing for Lily to join them. His expression grew serious, though his eyes remained gentle. "You know, I've been visiting Pinewood every day for 3 months." Both children nodded. Alex's silver car in the driveway had become part of their daily routine as meals and lessons. "And you know I've grown to care about both of you very much." Another nod, though Lily's was more cautious. She'd learned that adults often preface difficult news with declarations of caring. "I've been thinking that my house is very big for just one person, and that perhaps it might be nice to have a family there." Timmy looked confused. "Are you getting married?" "No," Alex said with a small smile. "I was thinking about adoption." The word hung in the air like a soap bubble, shimmering, fragile, full of possibilities. Lily went very still. She'd seen many children at Pinewood experience the adoption conversation. Sometimes it led to forever families. Sometimes to brief placements that ended in returned children with deeper wounds than before. "You want to adopt someone?" she asked carefully, her voice neutral. "Not someone," Alex replied, watching her face. "You. Both of you. Together." Timmy gasped, his face lighting up with instantaneous joy, but Lily remained guarded. "Why?" she asked simply. The question might have offended another adult, but Alex understood its origins. "Because in these months, I've come to love you both. Because my house isn't a home without family in it. Because you deserve parents who will never leave." "People always leave," Lily countered, though her voice wavered. "Parents die. Or they get tired of sick kids, or they decide one child is enough and send the other back." Alex recognized the collective traumas of Pinewood's children, shared in whispers after lights out. "I can't promise nothing bad will ever happen," he acknowledged. "But I can promise I will never ever send you back. You would be my children forever. Both of you together, always." Timmy wiggled forward. "Would we have our own rooms? Could I bring my space blanket?" "Yes to both," Alex assured him, "and you could help decorate however you want." Lily remained silent, processing. Alex gently touched her hand. "You don't have to decide right now. This is a big change. You can think about it, ask questions, visit the house again." "What about the other kids at Pinewood?" she finally asked. "What happens to them?" Alex's heart swelled at her concern for others even in this moment. Pinewood will continue with all the improvements. I'll still be involved through the foundation. But my first priority would be being a father to you both. A father, Lily echoed, testing the word that had existed only in memory for 2 years. Outside, the cardinal took flight, a flash of red against the blue October sky. Timmy watched it go with wide eyes. The good luck is starting, he declared with absolute certainty. The following Saturday dawned clear and cool, perfect autumn weather for Lily and Timmy's official visit to Oakridge Manor. Though they'd been there several times for brief visits, this was different. This was to see if it could become home. Mrs. Bennet helped them dress in their nicest clothes, special occasion wear that had arrived in personalized packages the previous evening. "You look very handsome," she told Timmy, straightening his navy sweater's collar. "It's itchy," he complained, but without much conviction. His excitement about the day ahead outweighed any clothing discomfort. Lily stood by the window in her green dress, watching for Alex's car. When the familiar silver vehicle appeared, she called out, "He's here!" with unusual animation. Mrs. Bennet knelt before Lily. "Remember, there's no pressure. This is just to see how you feel there. You can ask any questions, explore anywhere. And if you're not ready, that's completely okay." Lily nodded solemnly. "I know, Alex said the same thing on the phone last night. He called you. He calls every night now to say goodnight, even when he has late meetings." This detail, one Mrs. Bennet hadn't known, further reassured her about Alex's commitment. The drive to Oakridge Manor was filled with Timmy's chatter. He pointed out landmarks along the route, naming them with proprietorial familiarity. "That's the park where Alex pushed me on the swings, and that's the ice cream store with the blue door." Lily remained quieter, watching neighborhoods change as they drove from Pinewood's modest surroundings to the exclusive enclave where Alex lived. As they approached the gates, Alex glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "Nervous?" "A little," she admitted. "It's so big." "It won't always feel that way," he promised. After a while, big houses shrink to just the right size. Inside, Mary greeted them warmly, not as unexpected guests, but as anticipated family. "I've prepared lunch in the garden," she told them, "and there are surprises waiting upstairs." "Surprises?" Timmy bounced with excitement. "Can we see now?" "Lunch first," Alex laughed. Then exploring. The garden had been transformed. What had been a formal space now featured child-friendly additions, a small playground, raised garden beds at child height, and seating areas sized for adults and children alike. Over lunch, Alex outlined his plans. "If you decide you'd like to live here, the adoption process will take some time. There will be home studies, interviews, paperwork, but you could start staying weekends right away to get comfortable." "How long is some time?" Lily asked practically. "A few months, most likely. My lawyers think we can expedite things, but there are necessary steps to protect children's well-being." Lily nodded. "And we'd still see our friends, Emma and Christopher and everyone?" "Absolutely," Alex assured her. "We could have them visit here and you'd visit Pinewood regularly. Those relationships are important." After lunch came the promised surprises. 2 bedrooms, prepared with careful attention to each child's preferences. Timmy's featured a space theme, with constellations painted on the ceiling that would glow in the dark. Lily's room reflected her more reserved personality, soft colors, a window seat for reading, and bookshelves filled with titles she'd admired. Most touching was a framed photograph on the nightstand, a family portrait of her parents and grandmother that Mrs. Bennet had found in Pinewood's records. "Is it okay?" Alex asked hesitantly. "The photo? I thought you might want it close." Lily touched the frame gently. "It's perfect," she whispered. "Everything is perfect. What should we call you if we come to live with you?" Lily's question lingered in the car as Alex drove back to Pinewood through the twilight. It was the most direct acknowledgement yet that she was genuinely considering the adoption. "Well," Alex said carefully, "you could call me Alex, like you do now, or—" He paused, suddenly uncertain. "Or Dad, if that ever feels right, but there's no rush either way." Lily nodded, processing this. "My first dad was Daddy," she said quietly. "I still remember his voice saying it." "Then perhaps I could be Dad," Alex suggested. "Something different, but still family." "I never had a dad before," Timmy contributed from his car seat. "Just a mum for a little while." The simplicity of his statement tightened Alex's throat. "Well," he managed after a moment, "everyone deserves a dad, and I would be honored to be yours." At Pinewood, Mrs. Bennet was waiting despite the late hour. As the children ran inside to share their adventures, she drew Alex aside. "How did it go?" she asked. "Better than I hoped," Alex admitted. "Lily's asked if they can stay next weekend." Mrs. Bennet smiled. "That's significant progress. She doesn't trust easily." Before Alex could respond, his phone rang. The screen displayed James Urgent. "I should take this," he apologized. "Business crisis. Mrs.?" Bennet nodded, understanding. "Go ahead. I'll tell the children you'll call for good night later." Alex answered as he walked toward his car. "James, what's happened?" His partner's voice was tense. "Mitchell's made his move. He's calling for a vote of no confidence at tomorrow's emergency board meeting. Says your divided attention is threatening company stability." Alex's jaw tightened. "He's been looking for an excuse since the hospital incident." "This is more than an excuse," James warned. "He's got backers. The European expansion delays gave him ammunition." "The delays were necessary for proper security implementation," Alex countered. "I know that, you know that, but Mitchell's painting it as negligence due to your personal projects." Alex glanced back at Pinewood, where Lily stood in the doorway watching him. She raised her small hand in a wave. "Not tonight," he decided. "I promised the children I'd call before bedtime, but I'll be there first thing tomorrow." The emergency board meeting convened at 8 a.m. sharp. Mitchell Hargrove, a silver-haired investor who'd been with Reed Technologies since its early days, wasted no time. "This company needs focused leadership," he began. "Recent decisions demonstrate a troubling shift in priorities." For 20 minutes, Mitchell outlined his concerns: delayed product launches, restructured foundation budgets, Alex's reduced office hours. Each point was presented as evidence of neglect rather than intentional reprioritization. When Mitchell finished, Alex remained silent for a calculated moment before standing. 10 years ago," he began, "when we drafted the company mission statement, we included a commitment to technology that serves humanity. Not shareholders, not markets, humanity." He brought up images, children at Pinewood using new adaptive educational technology, the hospital's upgraded pediatric wing, plans for similar facilities in other states. "What you're seeing isn't a distraction from our mission," Alex continued. "It's the fulfillment of it." James joined him, adding, "The foundation work has already generated valuable research data that's improving our consumer products. The relationship is symbiotic, not competitive." The vote, when it came, was decisive, 11-1 in Alex's favor. Mitchell gathered his papers with poor grace. "You've won today, Reed," he conceded. But divided focus eventually takes its toll. November brought early snow to Connecticut and final preparations for Lily and Timmy's permanent move to Oak Ridge Manor. The home study had progressed smoothly. Weekend stays had stretched to include occasional weeknights, and the children had begun referring to their room at Pinewood as their old room, a significant shift. Lily stood by the window of what was now firmly her bedroom, watching snowflakes dance. Her suitcase, packed with far more belongings than she'd ever owned before, sat ready by the door. Tomorrow would be the official moving day, though the legal adoption was still proceeding. A knock announced Alex's presence. "Ready for the party?" he asked. Pinewood was hosting a farewell celebration, bittersweet for those who would miss them, but joyful in recognition of their good fortune. "Almost," Lily answered. "Just thinking." Alex sat beside her. These quiet moments had become their routine, a time for Lily to voice concerns she wouldn't express in front of Timmy, having second thoughts. Alex asked gently. Lily shook her head. "No, but it feels strange. Good strange, but still strange. Change often does, even positive change. Will the other kids think we don't care about them anymore because we're leaving?" Alex considered her question seriously. Some might feel that way initially. Change is hard for everyone. But we've made sure they understand you'll visit often, and that Pinewood itself will continue improving. The celebration was in full swing when the doorbell rang. Mrs. Bennet answered to find a professionally dressed woman holding a folder. "Ms. Harriet Wilson, Department of Child Services," she introduced herself. "I need to speak with Alexander Reed immediately." The serious tone caught Mrs. Bennet's attention. "Is something wrong with the adoption paperwork?" "I'm not at liberty to discuss that," Ms. Wilson replied stiffly. Alex was helping Timmy cut his special cake when Mrs. Bennet approached with the visitor. One look at her expression told him something was amiss. In Mrs. Bennet's office, Ms. Wilson wasted no time. "Mr. Reed, we've received an anonymous tip regarding potential conflicts of interest in your adoption application. Specifically, allegations that you're using these children to enhance your corporate image." Alex stared in disbelief. "That's absurd. My relationship with Lily and Timmy is entirely personal. Nevertheless, we're obligated to investigate. Additionally, concerns have been raised about your suitability as a single father, given your business commitments." The pieces clicked into place instantly. Mitchell Hargrove. The timing, the specific mention of the board meeting, it could only be him. "This is a malicious attempt to interfere with the adoption," Alex stated firmly. "All your evidence will be considered," Ms. Wilson assured him. "However, until our investigation is complete, the overnight stays must be suspended." Oh, Alex felt as if the floor had disappeared beneath him. Suspended, but they're moving in permanently tomorrow. The investigation shouldn't take more than a few weeks. "A few weeks?" Alex's voice rose. "Do you have any idea what that will do to children who've already experienced profound loss and abandonment?" The door opened. Lily stood there, her expression making it clear she'd heard enough. "We're not moving tomorrow, are we?" she asked quietly. Christmas Eve arrived with fresh snow and lingering uncertainty. 6 weeks had passed since the investigation began, 6 weeks of limited visitation and mounting frustration. Alex had complied with every requirement, provided every document, answered every question, yet the resolution remained elusive. Lily and Timmy sat by the Christmas tree at Pinewood, surrounded by beautifully wrapped gifts that Alex had delivered earlier. Despite the disappointment of the delayed adoption, he had ensured their holiday would be special. "When is Alex coming?" Timmy asked, fidgeting with the bow on a package. "He said after lunch," Lily reminded him. Though she maintained her outward composure, the strain of the past weeks showed in subtle ways. Her quieter demeanor, her return to keeping careful count of Timmy's medications despite the presence of qualified staff. Emma sat beside them. "Maybe he'll bring news," she suggested hopefully. "Christmas miracle and all that." Lily didn't respond. She'd learned long ago not to count on miracles. Upstairs, Mrs. Bennet was engaged in intense conversation with Ms. Wilson, who had arrived unexpectedly that morning. "This investigation has dragged on far too long," Mrs. Bennet argued. "The children are suffering from the uncertainty." Ms. Wilson sighed. "Between us, I agree. Mr. Reed has been exemplary throughout this process. The allegations appear increasingly spurious, but procedure dictates procedure. Mrs. Bennet interrupted. Those children have had enough procedure in their short lives. What they need is stability, family. They heard a commotion downstairs, excited voices, running feet. They hurried to investigate and found Alex in the entryway, surrounded by children. What was unusual was the broad smile on his face and the official-looking folder in his hand. "The investigation is over," he announced in Mrs. Bennet's office. "My lawyers received confirmation this morning." He handed Ms. Wilson a document. "All allegations have been dismissed as unfounded. This is highly unusual. These processes typically take months to resolve." "Not when the accuser recants," Alex explained. "Mitchell Hargrove withdrew his complaint yesterday after my legal team presented evidence that his actions constituted malicious interference. What matters now," Alex continued, "is moving forward. The final adoption hearing is scheduled for December 30th. The judge has reviewed all materials and anticipates no further obstacles. There's more," he added. "Given the circumstances, the judge has granted special permission for Lily and Timmy to move to Oak Ridge immediately, today, rather than waiting for the hearing." "On Christmas Eve?" Ms. Wilson seemed startled by this deviation from protocol. "Especially on Christmas Eve," Alex confirmed. The judge felt it was appropriate timing for a new beginning. Downstairs, Alex found Lily and Timmy helping the younger children sort presents by name. "Alex!" Timmy spotted him first and ran to hug his legs. "Did you bring more presents?" "Better than presents," Alex replied, lifting the boy into his arms while beckoning Lily closer. "I brought news." Lily approached cautiously, hope and fear warring in her expression. "About the adoption?" Alex knelt to her level, still holding Timmy. "The investigation is over. All the concerns have been dismissed." "So, what happens now?" Lily asked, not quite allowing herself to believe. "Now," Alex said softly, "you come home. Today. Right now, if you want to." Timmy's whoop of delight echoed through the room. Lily remained still for a moment longer, processing. "For real?" she finally whispered. "No more waiting?" "No more waiting," Alex confirmed. "The final court date is next week, but that's just paperwork. You're coming home today, and you're staying forever." Something broke open in Lily then. The careful wall she'd maintained through weeks of disappointment crumbled. She flung herself into Alex's free arm. "Dad," she said, testing the word that until now she'd carefully avoided. "We're coming home, Dad." The simple word brought tears to Alex's eyes. Around them, Pinewood's children and staff erupted in cheers and applause. Later, as they gathered by the fire at Oak Ridge Manor to read Christmas stories, a tradition Alex had established during weekend visits, Lily looked around at what was now officially her home, her family. "Dad," she said during a pause between stories, "remember that day when Timmy and I came to ask for food scraps?" Alex nodded, his throat tightening at the memory of two drenched children shivering at his door. "I was so scared," Lily admitted. "But Timmy wasn't. He said rich people must be nice to have such big houses." Timmy, drowsy with contentment, nodded against Alex's shoulder. "And I was right," he mumbled sleepily. "The richest person we ever met is the nicest person we ever met." Alex pulled both children closer. "Actually," he corrected gently, "I think I'm the one who found the real treasure that day."